Hey everybody, I hope all is well today. I hope everybody's safe and sound in quarantine, healthy and as happy as can be. I wanted to provide updates in regards to my meeting with the magistrate the other day, so that way those that care to be informed can be informed. I encountered some hurdles, so I went to the magistrate to file felony charges against two individuals and file charges against officers of Halifax County Sheriff's Office and the town of South Boston's police department. When I approached the magistrate and began to introduce this information, she advised me that she had no interest in taking the criminal reports from the officers because it was a direct conflict of interest. So I pursued the criminal filings against the individuals that committed felonies against my property and my persons. With that being said, everything was in order to begin to take these criminal reports. She had the pen to the paper. And as I was reporting the grand larceny felonies, I had offered the information that one of the suspects' wife is a secretary to our sheriff's office. At that point, she stopped taking the criminal report and told me that this is a conflict of interest and she would have to request a conflict magistrate from another county to begin to take these criminal charges. So knowing they're not taking criminal charges against officers, I got passed along to an outside county's magistrate in regards to filing these felonious criminal reports because these magistrates locally have ties to all the sheriffs here, and it is a direct conflict of their interest. With that being said, the second magistrate gave me two options. He said I can go to civil court, one, or I can go to our Commonwealth attorney, two, to take out those criminal charges. Now, I stopped him and I said, "Excuse me, sir, did you just offer me legal advice?" He did, and he declined that that was not legal advice. That gentleman offered insight to legal alternatives by way of approaching the matter in civil, and this is not a civil matter. This man might be charged with misprision of felonies. I had felony information I produced to him. I was reporting on felonies, and he is withholding this information, not taking the reports properly. Now, with that being said, I have to find a conflict attorney, and here's why. Tracy Quackenbush, our Commonwealth attorney here in Halifax County, her husband is a sheriff of the sheriff's office. This would introduce another conflict. So, meanwhile, while these magistrates know felonies have been committed, they are refusing to do their duties by way of citing conflicts of interest, basically shielding them from law, buying these criminals time, while I should be protected under the RICO Act, the KKK Act, and the Crimes Victims' Rights Act. There's a lot of negligence unfolding in regards to those in office right now. They are portraying to be agents of the blue line of silence, thus conspiring to deprive me of my rights of due process under color of law. These gentlemen that have committed felonies against me still have not had formal reports filed against them to lead towards investigations. That's what the first magistrate was doing until I said that this gentleman's wife works for the sheriff's office. So with that being said, I cannot reach out to our Commonwealth attorney in regards because her husband working for the sheriff's office poses a direct conflict of interest. With that being said, the initial magistrate and the second magistrate, the conflict magistrate, wanted me to go all the way back down the chain of command to internal affairs. I'll tell you from my history with dealing with internal affairs how this works. You can have clear evidence crimes have been committed on video and point the internal affairs officer to the exact minute marker and clearly articulate the crime as far as the section code that's been violated. And let me tell you what they do. Absolutely nothing. They don't do anything. They don't reprimand their own kind, and they don't want to charge their own kind, because these agents are operating under a criminal organization known as the Thin Blue Line, or the Blue Line of Silence. So with that being said, everything is hush-hush, and there is a conspiracy right now to deprive me of my rights under color of law. So I'm very interested on what attorney I'm going to be reaching out to in regards to a prosecutor that will be taking this federal case. Under the state of Virginia, the Democrats and Republicans voted on revoking the right to privately prosecute. So I don't have that right under the state. And this is seditious acts against our Constitution and our Supreme Court rulings. With that being said, it's a lot of work. It definitely is a lot of work. The break the other day when I attempted to file the criminal reports was realizing that I was absolutely right with my criminal reports, articulating them down to the crime committed and how it was committed and who was involved, thus leading to the criminal report about to be taken by the magistrate to be filed formally. Knowing that process was beginning to start, I already realized that I'm absolutely right in my claims, just as I knew I had been previously. Because the state law wasn't followed, I wasn't properly notified, and my property that was on private property wasn't left for more than a certain period of time. I'm well within my rights as a victim to be able to procure my things back and seek restitution and be restored with my property. That was my sole home and domicile, and everything I had just been taken. They asked me the approximate value of things inside. I have 2 articles of Patagonia ski clothing that's worth $600 alone. So that exceeds the grand larceny clause, which would have these individuals be charged with a felony in regards. With that being said, do have a lot of work ahead of me. And I'm really excited about this because this is where I wanted to pick off in my studies. Some of the videos that you may have seen previously with Boulder's sheriffs, Boulder police, things of that nature, where I'm talking about suing them, I hadn't a clue to really begin the process for offense at the time, because I have been continuously studying defense, which would have me already know in this situation I am well within my rights under color of law. And I will be protected by the Crimes Victims' Rights Act. So in regards to this is going to be an absolute big deal. So just to articulate, so I wasn't there longer than the allotted time. I wasn't notified. And here's the kicker. The property owner had to call the police to ensure removal and then call the tow truck company. But here's the kicker. The cops don't have a report when they responded. They also failed to provide a certificate of tow to the property owner to then provide to the tow truck company owner that law was followed. There is no certificate of tow. There is no documentation regarding the theft of my belongings formally in books. Officer Perkins, I will be naming for his crime against me in regards. He would have known from the day prior that that was my RV and it was not abandoned, and somebody was living out of it for sure. I believe that he withheld this information to the property owner, thus sweeping me in the system maliciously. When I attempted to file a criminal report for theft, he responded immediately to the scene, failing to offer me any evidence of paperwork, any evidence of a criminal report, incident report, or even a call log number. So he had nothing for me, and he refused to take a criminal report when I had substantial evidence that showed a crime had been committed. I had called a supervisor. His supervisor said the same exact thing. This guy retired. That day. He retired that day. I will be naming him in court as well for refusing to do his duties, and basically it's obstructing justice, and refusing to do their duties. Now, when these officers respond, there's three elements required to a crime. If not one of those elements is involved, there is no crime. With that being said, if one of these elements is ever involved and anybody ever needs to call the officers of the law, and they come and respond and they tell you it's a civil matter, they are now liable for committing a crime of practicing law unlicensed. And they are failing to do their duties as a law enforcement when you were swearing under penalty of perjury with your statement that everything you say is accurate and truthful. So, it's not up to them to dictate whether something is civil or criminal. If there's criminal elements that you are reporting, it is a criminal report, and that is to be taken seriously. So, when my RV moved from outside the jurisdiction, when it had began to be towed, that is a crime scene, and it had moved outside of town jurisdiction into the county, to which I'd reached out to the sheriffs, and I had tried to educate them on what law is because, they don't study law. With that being said, they laughed at me, they mocked me, and they retaliated against me, the victim, witness, and informant. That was a crime scene. I was stating it as such, and they failed to do their duties. One officer, one sheriff, was standing off to the side. Because he watched these crimes unfold against me, guess what, sir? You are you are liable, and you will be charged by me personally in a court of law. You were willfully blind to your duties. You guys had sworn an oath to the Constitution, and you were to ensure that all officers within your jurisdiction follow constitutional law. If you don't study law, maybe you need to find a new job, because we can replace all of you. We can bucket those badges. We can throw them in a trash can, because you know what? You don't need to be shielded. You really don't. On a side note, when I was being arrested for assuming duties of law enforcement and thrown in the back of the car, they had called in over the radio. I have an active concealed carry permit. Awesome. But my license, I'm ineligible for that. I think I spoke on that the other day. I do have a YouTube video, DMV fraud, and you can look back to that video in regards to my claims. After I tried to file reports with the commissioner of the DMV for the alleged crimes that the manager, Lisa, was committing at our local branch here in the town of South Boston, they swept it under the mat. They closed my DMV account, and I had never really caught formal wind of it. I've only tried to log into my DMV account, to which I can't. I have no more account. And when I was cuffed in the car the other day, I realized that being ineligible, from what they said, it's solely because they are not respecting my right, my 14th Amendment right to be treated equally and fairly as a private, poor, or nomadic class of citizen, to which I'm auditing. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know quite what I was doing before, but we are going to be criminally charging Lisa for coercing me to commit fraud, and a conspiracy to cover up fraud, Vivian at the commissioner's desk. I swear I will be doing this. We'll be tying all this together, and it's a conspiracy to deprive citizens of their rights. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm working on, and I'm very happy about this. I've been gaslighted on here on my last video by two individuals who tell me I need to seek mental health. Well, let me tell you something. We can be our own best friends or our own worst enemies. And I've been studying psychology, and I'm well aware of what's going on. With all the, you could call it terror, you could call it trauma that I've endured, I've persevered, I've grown. I've removed myself from areas of potential threats so that I can further exhibit the growth that I need to move on after identifying what some of these problems were. I am not the problem here. I call out the problems like it's my job, and you would think I'd get paid for it. However, I will be getting paid for this. I will be seeking restitution and definitely damages, and I will be naming everybody standing in my way. Magistrates, judges, prosecutors, anybody who slips up, I will be naming their criminal acts and filing a separate criminal charge against everybody. This is a hardcore 14th Amendment audit. And if these people in office do not do their jobs or are willfully blind and conspire to obstruct justice and deprive me of my rights under color of law, then they are to be named and we will hang them up to dry. This is something that I am very interested in. I'm very passionate about this. I do seek justice. I do. I have a torn rotator from a previous false arrest. I've endured a couple false arrests, and at the end of the day, when you're freed and the charges are dropped, you don't get restitution handed to you. You have to work for it. And nobody is really there for anybody anymore seeking restitution unless it's a $1 million plus case. Nobody wants to help. Nobody wants to get involved. Nobody wants to charge the police. Nobody wants to charge anybody in office. This is a part of the conspiracy that I'm whistleblowing that shows that these people are acting as agents for the blue line of silence to keep their mouths shut in regards to knowing that these people in offices around them are committing crimes. With that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate the compliments. I do strive to learn. I promote cellular growth. I do not inebriate myself at all. Never touched a bottle in years, in several years. Can't remember my last drink. Wouldn't join any friends for a beer. I'm all about promoting better health and growth. And I'm not going to lie, this is a lot of work. And I'm dedicated, I'm persistent, and I'm the guy for the job. And at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot to be said in regards to the hard work that I performed. And I also want to share everything along the way so I can continue enlightening those that may have gone through similar problems, or those that may get involved with similar problems in the future. With the magistrates wanting to send me all the way back down the ladder to internal affairs, it's a slap in the face and it's a gross conflict of interest, and it does nothing to criminally charge these people in a timely manner. No officer wants to charge their buddy that they've been sharing donuts and coffee with for years. Guys, have a blessed day. Thank you for stopping by. I really do. I don't know who some of you are, but I do appreciate you tuning in. I really do. I'm not here for the TV time. I don't want it. However, what is most important to me is getting the word out and letting everybody know what people are involved with. I am working to show that this is not an isolated incident here in regards to my persons. There are other people that we are communicating with right now, and we are pulling people together to begin to articulate and show that this is happening nationwide with those in office. When I have felonies and these officers refuse to take them, they're guilty, or they're going to be charged with misprision of felony. I can't say they're guilty because we haven't gone to court, but they will be charged with misprision of felony. What that means is they got felony information, they held it and did nothing with it. So with that being said, knowing that I've produced these informations to the magistrates, where I stand right now, I have nowhere to go but seek out a conflict attorney, because everybody that I'm filing reports with has a conflict of interest. And this sucks. I feel like a second-class citizen in regards to my rights. I feel like my rights are the redheaded stepchild compared to those in office that are shielded behind color of law. They're shielded behind these agents that are buttoning their mouths and keeping their lips shut and sealed. This is a big deal, and this is what I'm working hard on. Knowing that first magistrate had the pen to the paper and was processing felonious reports to be investigated, to seek out warrants following the investigation, it was a big deal. Weight lifted off my back. I'm okay right now. I have a place to stay, still under quarantine, currently with my family. I will be working hard to seek retribution. Those that I'm charging, those private citizens, the tow truck company owner, and the director of the Halifax County Service Authority. These two individuals are going to get charged with a felony. Now, I'm going to have no remorse, and I'm relieved to the fact because it's the only way I will get my property handed back to me and seek the restitution I deserve. It's the only way. I did play the good guy. I did approach both of these parties prior to beginning this process and preparing my criminal reports. And I gave each party the option to retract from their crimes against me and restore me with my property, freeing me from the attempted extortion and their other crimes against me of theft. So, with that being said, have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. And if there's anything you like in the video, please share it. If you have a question that I can actively answer, please engage. I appreciate you guys. Please stay in good health. Please take utmost care of yourselves and do what I do. Try to practice some cellular growth. You guys have a wonderful day. Hope you all have had a happy Easter and stay blessed.